Jai Swaminarayan. Om Namo Narayanaya. Welcome back. I wanted to read an article tonight. So, well, I guess a little bit different than what I've done in the past. I'm going to read an article and then talk about it as we go on. So, this is an article, link down below, from News Target. And some of you may not like that website. If you try to post it on Facebook, it gets clamped down on as spam. But you can reference this article on some other sources that might be more to your liking. So if you go to the link down below, you can see the article, and then on the bottom, it gives its sources to verify everything. So this is an article that came out on the 12th of July, 2023. So about 2 weeks ago. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to read it. Before I delve into this article, I want to say why I'm reading this. This relates to something I talk about all the time on this channel in regards to society and religious views and religious people and religious lives, and that is the slippery slope. A lot of folks think that the slippery slope is maybe nowadays sort of a conspiracy theory, or oh, that's just a worry wart, or it won't happen. I totally disagree. I think slippery slope is real, and we're seeing it in real time on many, many issues, and it's happening so fast, we almost can't digest that it's happening. And to come to grips with, wait a minute, we're actually there, is scary. Let me give you just a couple examples of what we're looking at in society. These may not be the best examples, or one of them is iffy, but I'm going to give it anyways. So for the past 20, 30 years, and I just say that from my lifetime of what I can remember, there has been a fight for gay and lesbian equality when it comes to marriage. Let gays and lesbians marry each other. When I was in high school, so 20 plus years ago, that was the issue. That was a big issue. It was very controversial. Excuse me one second. Voice is a little rough tonight. And there was a lot of people saying, yes, let them get married. What's the big deal? Marriage is not the institution that it used to be. It is often very much an economic thing, or it traditionally was, but now it's about love. So, hey, two people love each other. What's the problem? It's better in terms of kids, whatever. That was the pro argument. The other side, often the Christian side, used to say, no, it's unnatural, it's non-biblical, etc., etc. And they also used to say, well, it's going to lead to things on that slippery slope, and that will include pedophilia and incest. Okay, well, no, it didn't. We're not seeing gays and lesbians wanting incest. That's not how that went. But here in 2023, pedophilia is now called minor attractive persons. And they're promoting it as a natural sexuality. To like a 2-year-old is natural. It didn't come from the slippery slope of gay marriage. It's a completely different thing, though it is tied to the gay and lesbian movement. Horribly tied. It should not be. Or the trans movement, I should say, is tied to the trans movement. And a lot of people in the gay and lesbian movement want that separated. But here we are talking about minor attractive persons 20 years later. We're here, and we're supposed to accept that it's normal. Slippery slope happened. As for incest, that is now being normalized also as a natural sexuality. The idea being that incest causes what? People with disabilities. That is a scientific fact. But if you are pro folks with disabilities, then you can't be, according to this theory, anti-incest, because that actually decreases the number of people with disabilities. Think about that. I'm not even making this up. I forget the name of the theory, but it's this theory where incest is good because it keeps people with disabilities in society. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know, genocide of being anti-innocent. Incest is genocide of disabled people. We're now at that point. That theory just came out this year or last year. We're literally at the point of, I don't know, whatever. Slippery slope. Didn't happen the way we saw, but we're there, and these are real conversations. And if you say something against these, you're a bigot, and you can get banned and canceled. I'm kind of at a point where nobody knows me. So if you really want to cancel me, you actually will help my reputation. We're now there. Iffy example, the better one is MAIDS up in Canada. MAIDS program started, what, 5, 6 years ago as a program for people with terminal illnesses so they could commit suicide before they got to a really bad place. Fine. It is either this March or last March, should have looked this up, my fault, where the law will or was changed. So now you can sign up for MAIDS if you just have a mental illness. That's it. Autism. You can kill yourself. I have a mental illness of let's see. I don't know. Doesn't matter. You can kill yourself. 5 years. We've literally gone from terminal illness to mental illness. And along the way, we are seeing people, sorry, it seems to be a night of sirens, ironically speaking of maids and death, ambulances going by. If you can hear it, probably. How fast we've gone, that slippery slope of terminal illness to now, if you're actually depressed, you can even commit suicide. And you may have seen the news where a woman couldn't get a chairlift to go up the stairs. They suggested suicide. A guy is facing homelessness. He's been all over the news. He can't pay the bills. He has no money. And instead of renewing his benefits, they're suggesting suicide. He doesn't want to die, but he's got no money. Let's kill him. Uh, a survey said in Canada that 1/3 of Canadians, according to the survey and statistics, are promoting prescribed suicide for the homeless. Wow. What happened to the terminal illness? Now we're going to homelessness as slippery slope, fast, slippery slope. And I often wonder what will be the definition of mental illness tomorrow. There are people I have seen who say that Christians are mentally ill because they believe in that horrible thing. I've seen people say that anyone who is a Trumpster is mentally ill. So will prescribed suicide be against conservatives? You jest or you laugh at me, or I jest or you laugh at me. 5 years from now? Think about where we were 20 years ago and where we are today. So much traffic tonight. I have the window open. Sorry, if I close it, I'm going to start sweating to death because it's a warm night. And you can see the sun's just pouring in. So, whatever. You could see how fast things have changed on the slippery slope. There's plenty of other examples I could probably give if we go back to a few years ago with the lockdowns. How fast did that change society? To, hey, if you want to get the jab, to now some countries are mandating it. And if you don't get it, ooh. Or the slippery slope of, I have a different opinion of you. And in Britain, your bank can now close your account if you're conservative, because that seems to be what's happening. Whoa, where'd that slippery slope come from? So if you don't believe it's out there, it is. It is. And people are saying now with AI, whoosh, we're done. Anyways, I'm reading this article today because I always talk about the slippery slope. And this article is somebody else talking about how we're there. We are already there. I talk a lot about the potential slippery slope of religious people being made not defunct or unwelcomed, but sometimes I say, I wonder if in America, If they could outlaw Christianity, would they? If they could just make it illegal, would they do that? Would it? I think they would. I think they're on the verge of trying to make it gone in any way, shape, form. I'm shocked. Well, we're not there yet, but we might be, where they're not trying to pass legislation that makes anything biblical hate speech. Actually, I think they've already started to try to make anything Christian into hate speech, which would then make it illegal. I talk about, when will your religious beliefs become illegal under the woke, progressive, slippery slope of society? And if you say no, well, my argument will be, well, that's probably because your beliefs are going to change into something very different so you can escape this. Anyways, let's get to the point, and that is to read an article today. So this is from July 12th, 2023 by a J.D. Hayes, and it is called Insanity. British parents may face prosecution if they refuse to pay for their child's transgender treatments. So we're talking about the trans agenda today. You know where this is going. You've probably seen the news about this. This particular one just backed up the slippery slope I warn against. It's here. So, JD writes, and I'm going to read it and stop and start and whatever. Western civilization, which has dominated the world for thousands of years, is officially in decline. And nowhere is the condition more advanced than in Europe, where leftism is destroying not only basic traditional values, but also centuries of established science. I think you may know what that's referring to. Um, the idea that there's multiple genders, which science has always said is wrong. Um, there's a woman in Scotland who's facing jail time for promoting feminism because that's anti-trans. The rainbow police, whatever. England and California and Canada and Australia are woke, progressive places. He writes, according to a column by Georgetown University Law School professor, parents in Great Britain are now subject to prosecution along with fines and even jail time if they won't pay for their child's transgender treatments, including, of course, irreversible trans surgeries. Quote, the law school professor said this week that this was published, as the debate rages in the United States over parental notification and authority in cases involving transgender children, the UK is embroiled in a controversy over a law that would not only limit parental authority in such cases, but affirmatively require parents to pay for such transitioning. Under the interpretation put forward by police, parents who refuse to use the alternative pronouns for their children or refuse to pay for their transitioning could be criminally prosecuted. End quote. So if my son says he's a dinosaur and I must refer to him as dinosaur self and I refuse, I'm a criminal if this law passes, I guess. When I was a boy, I was a Doctor Who fan. I still am. Huge Doctor Who. You can't see it, but there's Tom Baker. You see him right there. I wanted to be Tom Baker. He was my hero. I wanted to be a Time Lord. I'd go out playing with my friends and play Time Lord. And I'd want to keep playing when I ate dinner. Uh, and I guess if I said to my mom, well, you need to call me Time Lord or Time Lord Self, I guess according to this law, if that's what I call myself as a Time Lord, then if my mom failed, she would be criminally prosecuted. That's horrible. Why is that horrible? Because kids change their mind. And I don't need to tell you, kids don't know what they are. But here's the really bad thing. Let's say this happens. Let's say a kid does this and their parents are shackled and go to jail, who's going to take care of the kid? Well, now the state. How many kids do you know who were raised by the state who have zero trauma from that experience? None of them. They all have some trauma. Many move beyond it. Many do not. So you're going to put kids in orphanages or running them in the state? Is that how this is going to work? Also, what happens to kids whose parents are in jail? They suffer trauma. They always suffer trauma. My ex-girlfriend who has passed away, her father was in prison for 10 years while she was young. He went to prison when she was what? I want to say 10, either 10 years old or 5 years old. I forget which one. But he missed huge parts of her life and it traumatized her. Majorly traumatized her. And when no one says they love you, it's hard. So now you have kids whose parents are going to be criminals. Well, if you have a lot of parents rebelling, now you have a lot of criminals out there. Maybe a lot of parents now in prison. When those parents get out of jail, their careers are going to be destroyed. Their lives are going to be destroyed. Their relationships with their kids are going to be destroyed. So the end result is literally the destruction of a family because a kid said, please refer to me as Time Lord Self. And if you don't, I'm going to tell my teacher and they're going to call 911. Poof. I guarantee that if my mom had gone to jail or my dad had gone to jail, I would not be making this video right now. I don't have a clue what my life would be like. I fear it would not have gone well. But if you're going to start putting in parents in jail, well, first of all, that's going to destroy families. But also, isn't there bigger problems we should be going after, like criminals who are really doing things bad and hurting people and killing people and whatever and stealing things or fraud or whatever? Some politicians, maybe. But no, we're going to put people in jail for not doing what their kid says should be done when the kid pretends they're a dinosaur. And we're going to destroy families. 2 or 3 generations of destroyed families. Of course, you'll say, well, parents will learn to use the correct pronouns. But if you ever watch people who are in big debates, you'll notice that sooner or later, if you're talking for a while, they start to slip up on pronouns. They get confused, they slip up, whatever. You see it all the time because our minds aren't right with this. Let's keep reading. Per the UK's Code for the Crown Prosecution Services, conduct that is considered abusive now includes, quote, withholding money for transitioning and refusing to use their preferred name or pronoun, end quote. So, not just is it pronouns, it's also the name. I changed my name. But it's also withholding money. My kid says at 5 years old, I want to transition. And I go, well, I don't know. Maybe you should wait a few years. 911 or whatever the phone call number is. Take my parents away, please. I asked for $5,000. I asked for $10,000, $20,000. They refused to give it to me. How old are you? Oh, I'm only 6, but I know exactly what I want. Please take my parents away. Does a 6-year-old who reports this to their teacher and the teacher calls, does the 6-year-old really know what will happen when their parents are taken away? That is horrible. Let's keep reading. In other words, parents who have religious or familial objections to their child trying to become another sex are now required by law to pay for those operations and treatments. So this goes back to exactly what I have said and what I was saying at the beginning. Your religious beliefs are now illegal. If I say to you, here is the Bible, and in this Bible, God says you shouldn't do this, and you say, I want $20,000, please, for my operation. And I go, no, I can't justify that as your parent. I don't have the money and it's against my religious views. Off to jail. Bye. If a Muslim says this, We're supposed to be friends with Muslims. Liberals love Muslims because Obama. If a Muslim says this, if a Muslim says no, I will throw you. I don't believe in gays and lesbians. That's a perversion of the Prophet's words. You're going to arrest that Muslim? In Japan, it is considered I don't know, anti-Buddhist may not be the correct word, but it's bodily changes to your body are traditionally not done. So I remember when I was there, I used to see a lot of Japanese people with really bad teeth. In America, you'd have your teeth pulled out. I've had many pulled out so they would grow better. Not there. I remember seeing this one girl, she had a row of teeth and a row of teeth. In America, we would have pulled one row out, but nope, she just talked like this all the time, so you wouldn't see her teeth. You also see people with blemishes that can easily be removed, but it's anti-Buddhist to do it. It's just against their religion. It may be changing now. I was in Japan, 2003, 4, and 5, 2003, 2006. It's changing now. But if a Buddhist says, no, it's against the laws of Buddhism to remove something, a Buddhist, I guess, now goes to jail. That's it. That's what we're facing now. Your religious views are now illegal. Let's keep reading. There's a quote here. It says Turley. I don't know who this Turley is. It says Turley adds, according to the guidance material, this is not even an exhausted list in reference to what is now considered abusive, but some of the first examples of potentially criminal conduct that comes to mind. The guideline would suggest that parents with deep-seated religious convictions against transgendered status would either have to fund an operation that they consider immoral or face arrest for failing to do so. To potentially prosecute a parent for refusing to use an adopted pronoun of their child is chilling and wrong. End quote. Despite that fact, a spokesperson for the Crown Prosecution Services has doubled down on threats of parental persecution, telling Fox News in a statement that, quote, domestic abuse is a severe crime and leaves victims with a lasting impact. This assists prosecutors to ensure that any victim, regardless of who they are, can get justice for the abuse they have faced, end quote. So a parent saying, I'm sorry, I used he, she instead of bug self is abuse. But yet that parent going to jail for a year or two and causing their child to, I don't know, go to an orphanage or live under the state as a ward or be stuck with relatives, that's not abuse. Destroying the relationship between the parent and the child due to jail time, that's not abuse. That's an interesting thing. But saying the wrong pronoun is abuse. That's really interesting because if a kid decides to detransition, they won't care about that pronoun in 50 years from now. But their parent will still be in jail. That will leave a lasting impact. There's no reversing their parent going to jail. But if I transition and I change pronouns, that's not going to leave a lasting impact. I guess the word abuse is now as meaningless as the word racist and white supremacist and Nazi and a few other words that are just now the complete opposite of what they should be. This is frightening, frightening. So we are to legally go into the whims of every child. And to not do so is not abusive. If the police arrest me, take me to jail, and cause my child to have lifelong trauma, that's not abusive, as long as their feelings are not hurt in the moment that the 5-year-old thinks they are a bug. No, this is frightening. And your religious views and all that, slippery slope we're on, people. This is a law. This article I just printed out, you can see it online. It's the exact same thing that you'll read if you go online. Slippery slope, we're already here. We're discussing a law right now. But here's the thing, they want this. They don't actually care about parents. The government doesn't care about parents no more than like the government of the US cares about veterans and senior citizens. I think the people in the big whatever doing all this crap actually are waiting for our senior citizens to die because you can't tell an 80-year-old that men can get pregnant. So it's better to shuffle him off. And I believe they're trying to destroy the family. Why do I believe that? Because every single thing you see this movement do, if you break it down, at the end of the day, it destroys one of two things, the church or the family. You get rid of the church, you're probably going to have less families. Less families means getting rid of the church. Everything is about getting rid of the church and the family. Everything. Name it. Even climate change. Name a problem. I guarantee these solutions are about getting rid of the family. On the left, that's the goal. That may sound insane, but please turn to your Marx. Not the modern books written by leftists, but actual Karl himself and Engels. And you will see in Das Kapital, which these modern Marxists don't read because it's long and reading is racist. You will see in Das Kapital that Marx says that the family and the church are the two greatest walls to communism. Those must be destroyed. That's what he said. The movement is Marxist. That's validated. They even say they're Marxist. So if they're truly Marxist, then they want to get rid of the family and they want to get rid of the church. Everything is about getting rid of the family. I challenge you to look at anything happening, and you'll find that the family, the destruction of the family, is the end game. Everything is about that. So they don't actually care about parents. They want the child to be pulled away from the parent to become a ward of the state, because when you're a ward of the state, you're probably living on benefits, you're probably living in state housing, and you're easy to control. What do parents do? Parents get in the way of the government controlling children. In America, we claim parents are domestic terrorists for doing what? Telling teachers what not to do. Teachers, representative of the state. That's all this is getting rid of the family. That's it. I could end the article right now. Right now, I could end it and you'd know everything. And getting rid of religion helps, and the family and religion, it's all tied up. But those two things, you test it out. Let's keep reading. Turley wrote, this follows the erosion of free speech and religious rights in Britain, including English courts upholding the criminalization of toxic ideologies. End quote. Writing in the Institutes for the Laws of England in 1628, Sir Edward Coke noted, quote, for a man's house is his castle, and each man's home is his safest refuge. End quote. The first Earl of Chatham, William Pitt, would later note, quote, the poorest man may in his cottage bid defiance to all the forces of the crown. It may be frail, its roof may shake, the wind may blow through it, the storm may enter, the rain may enter, but the King of England cannot enter. End quote. It seems that the situation has changed regarding the misuse of pronouns or neglecting to support a child's transitioning, as these actions are now being treated as equivalent to physical child abuse. I'm going to pause there. The meaning of child abuse is now defunct. It's now meaningless. It really is. Keep reading. It says, this expanded definition of abuse grants the state more authority and influence over family matters and relationships. That's what I just said. It's all about the state. Continuing, it says, furthermore, the constitutional expert Turley says, entrusting law enforcement with discretion on this non-exhaustive list undermines the traditional protection of internal family affairs. So no pause here. So essentially what happens in your family is now public information, and your home is no longer a place of privacy. Your home is no longer a refuge. There was a survey done, I think earlier this year, where they asked millennials or something if they would have a problem with cameras in your home watching everything you do, and like, I don't know, it was 25% or something said I forget the exact number, so don't quote me, but it was quite a large number. It was like a third even said, yeah, we'd be fine with cameras in our house. I'm thinking they were clueless because they were probably thinking, oh, that'll get my parents from saying bad things. Yeah, it will get you too. When these walls you're no longer safe in, we're, well, welcome back, USSR. Welcome, North Korea. We're there. We're done. Welcome, China. Let's keep reading. The critical question remains, what will be the limiting principle as the state continues to broaden the definition of child abuse? It appears that the default assumption in the UK has been completely flipped on its head. Western civilization and culture are dying, and the left's outrageous cultural attacks are killing them. Ending that article. All these things that are happening now, the definition of child abuse, whatever. Fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and tell me what the result looks like. Will it be a world without racism, with peace and harmony? I seriously doubt it. Because human nature can't be erased. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to erase human nature. They're trying to erase the family. They're trying to erase the building blocks of society. And it won't work out very well. I'm going to pause there. I think enough has been said, so this is a good place to end this show. I read this article, it pissed me off. I'm reading it again, and it pissed me off again. This is a good website. I think it's a good article. Please check out the link down below. News Target has a lot of great stuff, obviously from a particular point of view, which I agree with. And if you're on the other side of that point of view, you're probably not watching this. You probably aren't watching my channel. I would love an explanation, though, if you're on the other side, why you think this is good stuff. Why basically making religious ideas is good. Here's the response to you already. You're saying, well, we need to ban religious ideas because they're bad. But who are you to make that judgment? And also, that implies that your ideas are good. Again, who decided that? You did. And you're the cult. So what you're saying is the cult's ideas are okay, but the non-cults aren't. And no, Christianity is not a cult. Not in the least. If you really do authoritative looks at what a cult is and authoritative definitions, not non-intellectual definitions. So you've got the point. You're listening. If you're still with me, you know what I'm thinking. You know what's going through my head right now, and you probably feel the same way, or maybe you don't. Whatever, doesn't matter. Either way, thank you for sitting with me. I hope you enjoyed this change. Reading something. I may do more of this because there's just a lot of news out there I just really want to respond to. And the slippery slope. Again, maybe you think I'm crazy, but look how far we're going. Child abuse is now having religious views. And we're not talking about religious views like in Islam, where they throw gays off buildings, which I don't advocate, obviously. That's considered fine. From other people who are not Muslim, though, we find that abhorrent, killing people or punishing people for, whatever, disagreeing. But now, I guess, in the Western world and whatever, disagreeing is now you can be punished for it. Punished for disagreeing. Hey, USSR, you're back. You won. We lost. We became just like you. Anyways, that's a good place to stop. Look forward to your comments. Look forward to your likes or your dislikes. Subscribe to this channel as I talk more about religion and society and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, whatever strikes my fancy. Also, I hope you checked out my last episode and Sinead O'Connor. I was devastated for days, and you discovered some new music. And if not, got to hear her voice singing some things and remembered what a wonderful singer she was. Or you maybe have seen the Sound of Freedom movie. I actually saw a movie the other day I'm going to be talking about soon, Reboot Camp. That was Very interesting and well worth discussing here. So we're going to be delving into some more pop culture and more articles and stuff. So please subscribe to the channel. New video at least once a week, sometimes more. And with that, I'll just say thank you for watching. Whatever your beliefs are, thank you for being here. And even if I disagree with your beliefs, I don't want your beliefs to become illegal in the Western world. I don't want that. Diversity, true diversity is good, not this forced diversity where everyone thinks alike. Yeah. Jai Swaminarayan. Jai Shri Krishna.